but the first 10% of this move can happen incredibly quickly, if a little bit of FOMO is triggered. And I think that is, really something that we ought to keep in mind and pay attention to. This can change very, very quickly. All we need to do is break the resistance level, and that's it. Things can start skyrocketing. There we go, guys. The pump happened incredibly quickly, coming out of this range exactly as we predicted. And we know why the market actually did this. It was because we were trending down for so long, basically just correcting, getting ready for this exact move. And it's FOMO, guys. As soon as we get above this resistance level, we've been waiting to trend up for so long, and all of that FOMO just absolutely just bangs the market, just explodes, and we see this extreme explosion upwards. And now what we've actually done is cleared yet another, we've moved up by another $1,000 since my most recent video, and cleared yet another important area of resistance. If we take a look at this yellow line, this is exactly where Bitcoin was struggling when we were stuck in this horrible range for 3 weeks. We could not get above this yellow line. Look at how much ease we were able to break this yellow line with right now. Bitcoin has made a lot of progress, so I want to cover with you where I think it can go. Are we going to be dropping down? Are we going to continue to rally up and all that good stuff? So definitely smash up the likes on this YouTube video if you've appreciated all this analysis so far. It's been completely on point. Make sure you're subscribed. Extremely time-sensitive analysis coming your way on this YouTube channel. You don't want to miss it just because you haven't ticked the bell and all that good stuff. So let's get straight into it and cover what we're looking at right here. And the first thing that I want to highlight to you is that we are now one resistance level away from our prior swing high, which is extremely, extremely cool. We have now just one area of resistance in between us and potentially getting ready to resume this uptrend, setting new highs. And we've already been setting new higher lows as well, right? If we take a look at the lows that we've had in this market all the way back since November of 2022, we have continuously been setting higher lows here, which is absolutely beautiful. This is exactly what we were calling for on the YouTube channel. Those of you that were subscribed are going to be very, very familiar with this. And next up is setting brand new highs. So if we take a look at our highs, these have, of course, also been getting higher across time. And if we are going to be getting ready to sweep this high, then we'd be setting a brand new higher high as well, therefore maintaining the current uptrend that we've been in since the bottom over here. So that is absolutely stunning. I want to show you a couple charts here to really help us understand what we're looking at. One of the first things that I did cover with you, and you saw it at the very beginning of this video, as I was talking to you about the first 10% of this pump potentially happening very, very quickly. There you go. Literally just took a day, and we've seen the first 10% of that pump. And again, if we just kind of really understand what kind of price action we've seen, I mean, for Bitcoin to pull off this 8% move, it also took a day. We've been going incredibly quickly within this market. But if you look at the other kind of price action we've been seeing, we haven't been able to get up this high this quickly at any point in recent market environments. So this clearly shows us that the market right now is way more bullish than it's been at in these recent weeks, and we know exactly why. We know why that's happening. If we zoom out, it's exceedingly obvious. It is because we've got this yellow line that was representing extremely important resistance to the market, and of course we were expecting this to behave as support. So again, I was covering this with you in the last video, but I want to stress this one more time. Obviously, everybody was very bearish when Bitcoin was down here, and that's exactly what I was warning you of. I was saying back when Bitcoin was at 30K, I was warning you guys that, look, if we start dropping down to important support levels like 25K, people are going to start fading that. People are going to start ignoring that. People are going to start acting like the market is actually, just in free fall, and we're going to, fall down to $3,000. And that's just how sentiment is when we're at the bottom, when we're at critical support levels. People are never bullish. And that's great, right? Because it's actually really predictable. As long as you've got like half a set of bulls, you can actually position yourself pretty well just by understanding that, even though people get scared at these lows, even though people get scared at these critical areas of support, if you are able to just ground yourself with the realistic forms of technical analysis that work, that have been proven across time, and you can just ignore the emotional noise in the space, you are going to come out ahead. So I want to give a really big shout out to those of you that have kept your head screwed on, that have been continuing to pay attention in this market, and those of you that have been taking advantage of the beautiful offers available to you with the links in the description down below. Those of you that have done this have now got, for example, with Bybit, up to $30,000 in free trading ammunition that you can deploy into the market. Many of you have already been deploying this capital into the market as well, so that's absolutely huge. BingX as well, in conjunction with all of the crypto stuff, we've also got these stocks that we can trade as well without even doing any KYC, so that is huge. We'll come back to that in just a second, but If we look at these targets, this falling wedge here had a 15% target to the upside because that was the length of this pattern at the very beginning. And so that does give us a speculative target of 30.5. And like I said, we've already managed to get up to basically $29,000. So we're not that far away now. And the other really important thing to keep in mind is that there's just not that much resistance anymore, right? I was covering this with you extensively previously, covering how, we had the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, we had the 1-day EMA ribbon, we had the horizontal resistance, we had the diagonal resistance with this yellow parallel channel. All of them were broken at the same time, and I was telling you guys that if we are able to break it, then there's just not that much strong resistance up ahead in my view, because this was the strongest area of resistance that Bitcoin had to face. And since we were able to break it, look at how big that pump was, right? This is just a testament to how accurate that analysis was, and just how reliable it is when you can understand where the significant resistance levels are, and understand that if we break significant resistance levels, usually that means the market can just skyrocket way higher than that afterwards, because there's no more pressure on the market anymore, right? If we have enough pressure to break heavy resistance levels, and then whatever was stopping us is removed, we just explode upwards. It's like a grenade. It's just all that momentum, and then the shell is gone. It just explodes outwards, which is absolutely beautiful here, not with a grenade, but of course with this price action. And so if we do take a look at, the kind of range that we're in right now, and just kind of understand what we're dealing with, it's going to be everything between this yellow line and this yellow line right here. And if we do just kind of take a look at the kind of price action we've had in between these two levels, there's really not that much, right? I mean, there's no like significant reversal levels that Bitcoin has had. I mean, on this occasion, we shoot straight up. On this occasion, we're right back down again, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, halfway down, all the way up, all the way down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a very it's a very volatile range. The price just zips all the way to the top and the bottom. I don't know if that's going to happen now. Obviously, there have been examples where that didn't quite go according to plan, where, whatever, it just didn't happen the way I just said. But on the whole, it's very clear that this is a range that Bitcoin just very quickly, just finishes up. It doesn't really hang around in this range. And so if that is the case, it might not be long until Bitcoin gets up to that $30,000 level, where I would be expecting a little bit more resistance. And this is definitely going to start looking quite overextended now as well. And that is something that I want you to keep in mind. Obviously, I've been incredibly bullish on this market, but one of the things that you'll always see on this YouTube channel, even if I'm 100% correct about the analysis like we've been here, is that I'm still going to check myself and just kind of understand, well, pullbacks still happen. Where can they happen? Where can I expect them? Where can I position myself accordingly? And what's really important is that pullbacks do typically occur at resistance levels. And if it wasn't this resistance level, and if it wasn't this resistance level, and if it wasn't this one, it is quite likely that it's going to be this one right here. So one of the things that I will be looking at is potentially seeing some sort of pullback down to important levels. And I want to discuss with you where that could end up going on this chart right here. So this is actually the $27,400, $27,500 level that we were talking about quite a bit on this YouTube channel over these last few weeks. And now that Bitcoin has been able to get above it, we've also, bear in mind, got this Ichimoku cloud, right? So I was actually covering this with you yesterday, talking about how we were just one step away from pumping out of this cloud and confirming it as support, which is absolutely beautiful, guys. I cannot stress this enough. When we see the market responding to, indicators that are typically very useful, when we see the market responding to it so well, that is actually a huge vote of confidence for us, showing us that, this is how it happened last time, right? The last time it happened, Bitcoin from its low up to its, kind of next high that it set within just 2 weeks, managed to pump up by 50%. So obviously, I'm not saying that that's going to happen again, because that's quite a big pump, but, we are looking at the exact same starting point right now for this, bounce and where this is taking us. So that's really, really good. And if we are able to kind of come back down, capture some support right down in this range where the Ichimoku cloud is quite healthy still, then that would be a really nice pullback to potentially show us that we're not, just doing a straight moonshot to the sky, and we're actually kind of taking that scenic route a little bit more, which is always going to be the much more sustainable route in these markets as well. So this would be a really nice formation to see. It would be a very, very nice support area to come down to. This is not the kind of thing that I'd be holding my breath for. I know that a lot of people are wondering, well, what do I do now? I wasn't in the market. I was waiting for a $23,000 Bitcoin. I was waiting for a whatever $1,000 Bitcoin, and now I'm not in. Again, this is something that I spoke about extensively to you guys. Just missing the train oftentimes, in my experience, is much worse than being on the train and losing money. And that, you can sit and think about that and see if you agree with me or not, but I've contemplated this for a very long time, and that is the conclusion I've arrived to. And like I said, this stuff doesn't necessarily matter hugely, because we can make way more money now. Now that there's volatility, it doesn't matter, whether you got in in Bitcoin at 25, at 17, at 3K, even at 10K. It doesn't really matter because there's so many opportunities that are open for us right now to be able to take advantage of in the market. These kind of, tests down at these kind of areas right here at 27.4 long, if we do end up getting it, would be quite obvious right now because the market is trending up so strongly, right? So if we are able to come down to some of these areas of support, and if we've got these long-term areas of support lining up with the same area, but also if we've got these shorter-term areas of support lining up with these same areas, we've got so much confluence here. This is the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud that I showed you in my most recent YouTube video last night, and this Ichimoku cloud is now going to be offering us support up here, or I should say down here now because we're above it, just within the next kind of 5-6 days. So that's really, really important, guys. That is a very strong display of strength right here, showing us that not only on the daily time frame, but also on the 4-hour time frame, the same indicator has support at the same place for us, and that is going to start to look very, very exciting, I think. So if we just break that down, that basically means like roughly this, like the bottom of this green box right here is where this could get interesting. And if we take a look at what this could actually mean in terms of a pump for Bitcoin, just to get back up to our current price off this, admittedly quite strong support level is a 5% move. To get back up to our swing high is a 13% move, right? So this already starts looking really, really impressive. I'd probably want my stop loss down here, 3% below. Super easy. I could go for like 8 times leverage on a trade like this, and that's already over 100% profit, over double my money, on that kind of position, which looks very, very exciting. And just on that note of me actually taking trades, like I said, I've been in this long trade for an incredibly long period of time now. I ended at 21.5. I just haven't had a reason to exit, and that's why I didn't. One of the things that's really important when you make money in these markets is you want to keep your positions running for as long as possible until the market gives you a really good reason to exit, because that's how you can keep on making more money. Our objective here is to make as much money as we can with our profitable trades, and with our trades that end up being losses, we want to cut them short as quickly as possible. So I did make this trade on Bybit, linked in the description down below. I've been saying this to you for a while, guys. Bybit is and has been my #1 exchange in crypto. I don't see that changing anytime soon. When you sign up using my link, you make your first deposit and start trading, you are going to get up to $30,000 in free trading ammunition that they give you. You can deploy that any way you like, and if you generate any profits with that free money, those profits will be yours to keep as well. BingX, like I said, you've got no KYC here, access to all of these other markets that typically we can't trade. Just from a Bitcoin deposit, you can trade these markets on leverage. So it doesn't really matter right now, but when the markets are a little bit more boring, it's very nice to know that we can trade these stocks as well, and kind of participate in that a little bit, which is very cool. OKX also with 60K in rewards here when you sign up using that link. Check them all out. Those are very, very cool offers indeed. And like I said here, just coming back to the analysis, it's the confluence here that is definitely making me quite excited with what we're seeing in the market right now. And also this right here, this is a chart that I showed you guys yesterday. It was a chart that looked a little bit like this. I was likening Bitcoin's current trend to what we had back in 2020. We had a very, very similar situation where we set a high, we came down, and then we just kind of fucked around for a little bit, in this case for 38 days until we were able to start sweeping those highs. So we're in a very similar situation right now. We kind of set a high, came back down for some time, just kind of messing around, not really doing anything important. But 43 days later, which is kind of roughly the time frame that we're looking at right now, we are basically kind of getting ready for that big breakout right now. And I'm not a huge fan of this particular kind of fractal, but the reason that I'm bringing it up with you guys today in this YouTube video is because this is being followed pretty closely right now. I mean, there are a lot of similarities with our current market compared to 2020, and it's not just about that. It's about understanding what happened after this screenshot, which was taken in like October, November, December of 2020. The price skyrocketed up to 20K. It didn't stop until it got to $42,000. So from where we're looking at right now, the price of Bitcoin actually managed to pull a 4 times return within, I don't know, like 6 months. I mean, a really short period of time to pull a 4 times return. Again, I'm not saying that something like that is going to be happening right now, but we have a really good setup, which doesn't necessarily, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a 4 times gain or even a 2 times gain or even a 50% gain, but we've got a similar setup. And if you're already bullish on this market like I am, and if you understand that traditional finance has been incredibly strong for a very long period of time, and now Bitcoin is finally starting to see a little bit of shine, then yeah, you're going to take this stuff seriously, and you're actually going to be potentially a little bit more aligned with how I'm seeing this market, which is that, I'm not saying that we're going to get a really big pump, but It's certainly possible right now. I don't know where it would take us. I almost don't want to have that discussion right now because it doesn't matter. The first thing we need to do is break above the 30.5k level, and after that we need to sweep our prior high. That remains the top priority for this market, and until and unless we are able to sweep above this high, none of this really matters. What we could be doing here, and I have covered this with you previously, is Bitcoin just potentially is getting ready to set a double top, something a little bit like this, and then maybe we come down for an even deeper hit at our support levels, maybe down to 26.7, maybe down to 27.4, capture support around this kind of area, and then continue to rally high. That would actually potentially line up with a Fibonacci retracement as well. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so there's 27.2 right here. This is the golden pocket. The 618 and the 66 level sitting very, very nicely in this area right here. So that definitely indicates that, 27.2 could be an important area for the market to kind of retrace down to. It's way too early to throw fibs on this chart right now, but I'm just kind of throwing these ideas out there that even though we're looking really, really bullish right now, a lot of this is going to be dependent on sweeping this high. This is beautiful. It's really nice to see a very quick pump out of this resistance area. It is exactly what we expected, of course, and we know exactly why it happened. That's why we were able to expect it. But if we're talking about the market getting up to levels like $40,000, getting up to levels like 50K, 60K, 70K, and so on, the first thing we need to do is break this resistance area. But let's talk about this market. If we are able to break this resistance area, by the way, look at this weekly candle. This is huge. This is exactly what I was showing you in that video, in the very, very beginning of this video with that little clip I shared. This is the exact same thing. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. This weekly candle here just skyrocketing, decimating all of our previous price action, really putting it all into perspective, showing us how strong this market actually is, which is really, really nice. But yeah, this yellow line here, guys, this is the key level. This is the level that we really need to break. Everything we've done now is nice, but it's almost like we're playing in a playground. Now we're coming into the real world. The 30K level is where the majority of the threats do lie for Bitcoin up ahead. And yeah, I mean, the first time we hit this area, we saw quite a steep rejection. I think the best thing we can hope for now is that Bitcoin gets up to this level, still gets rejected, but just kind of falls down a little bit higher, and then does something a little bit like this. I mean, you guys know me hopefully quite well by now. I really like these ascending triangles. They're very reliable patterns. I know between you and I, this is going to be a little bit annoying, and I know we both want to see a $40,000 Bitcoin tomorrow, but we're not going to keep our gains if we go up too quickly, and that's why I'm saying that, maybe a little rejection off here, capturing support, coming back up would be the healthiest thing for Bitcoin. I just don't know if Bitcoin can break such an important area of resistance on the second attempt, guys. We haven't actually attempted to break this level other than this one occasion right here. This was the only time that Bitcoin has ever hit this area as resistance since we've been in the deep, deep pits of this bear market. We have had instances where even on the very small time frames, we would have come back up, got rejected, and then, went back up like this. Or it happened here when we initially broke down for the first time for real. We did come back up for a retest, and that was actually what sent Bitcoin way down into the kind of $17,000 area. So we have used this area as resistance in quite an obvious way here, and in some much less obvious ways over here. But none of these attempts were after a long correction, right? I mean, now we've had a very, very long correction. We've sat down in the pits of this bear market for quite some time as well. And we've now come back up for a test at this very same resistance level, and it didn't work. It actually triggered a 2-month correction that fell down by 20%. So very clearly this resistance level serving as resistance here. But the question is, well, how heavy will that resistance be now? Is it going to be easy to break this level? Is it going to be harder? Obviously, I think it's going to get a little bit easier to break this level now because we've already attempted to break it. And as we know very well, the more we attack resistance levels or support levels, the more we attack resistance levels, the weaker they get, right? So each subsequent hit is generally, in my experience, each subsequent hit is generally going to be more likely to break the resistance level. And right now we're looking at attempt number 2 or 3 if you count this, but I'm not going to count this one because it was too short of a time frame. It was basically within the same market structure that we hit it, so I don't think that's relevant. Maybe if we zoom in, it looks a little bit more useful. Nah, it's not, because it's just consolidation, right? So to me, it's not the same thing as like, we've come down for a long time and now we're back up and attempting it. This is a very different environment to what we had back then. A much more bullish environment, I mean, this is within a bear market, and this is within, I mean, sure, we might still be, depending on your perspective, I still think we're in a bear market, but it's an uptrend within a bear market, right? The bear market is incredibly long term. The bear market kind of started up here or up here, depending on how you interpret this chart, and our uptrend right now has been going on on for admittedly a very long time though. I mean, this is quite a few months. This is what, like 7 months here that we've been trending up now. So definitely a long time we've been trending up, but compared to, since 2021, we are still in a kind of very macro bear market. And we just have an uptrend within that bear market, which is very normal, right? We've had many uptrends within bear markets. We've had many downtrends within bull markets. Here's a little downtrend we had during a bull market. Here's a little downtrend. I mean, I'm stretching the definitions here, but we did have little downtrends throughout bull markets as well. It's normal we do this, and that's just part of a healthy flow of the market. But again, we look at this resistance level and we answer the question of, well, how easily are we going to break it? Are we going to break it at all? The fact that we've had a really nice pullback now does put Bitcoin in an incredibly strong position to attack this resistance level again. I'm not going to expect it to break on the first time. It's just too strong. I would love it to break on the first attempt. Obviously, that would be amazing. I'm kind of tired of just kind of sitting here and not being able to do much. Obviously, many people will have been trading this market very regularly in this environment right here, and most of those people have probably lost a lot of money, because this is just the kind of thing that happens if you're over trading. The fact is that there just haven't been a whole load, just on Bitcoin specifically, a whole load of amazing trades to take other than the long at 25. That was the only other good trade I've seen on Bitcoin since the short up here. So sometimes it does come a little bit slowly, and if you kind of get swept away in the FOMO, you're going to start having some problems, right? I mean, you're going to be over trading and doing things that you shouldn't do, and obviously that is typically going to be one of the key things that you can mess up. I remember I saw this little picture. It was super funny. It was like, here you've got your plan, here you've got your result, and in the middle, this is the part where you fuck up, and this is the part that's called waiting. I'm sure many of you guys have seen that picture if you're active on the Twitter community and Telegram communities on for crypto, and it's just really funny because you've got your plan, you've got your end result, and the middle part where you wait is the longest part, and this is where everyone makes their mistakes. So again, I mean, it takes a very grounded, realistic approach to be able to get this kind of thing right. Obviously, it's not easy. If you want to see how I'm attempting to do it, because obviously I'm not perfect, but if you want to see how I'm attempting to do it inside of the VIP group, you can join by following these steps that are on screen right now, or by coming down to the links in the description here. It's the very same thing. It puts you in a direct chat with me where you can get all the details of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, so on, and also see the theory of just all of my analysis and trading skills, and then you can see the practical implementation of that side by side as well. It is an incredibly valuable package, well worth checking out for those of you that do want to see how I'm trading a little bit more. And so yeah, potentially another rejection here. Maybe even some consolidation. Maybe we just get up here and consolidate for like a week or two. That would still be really good and potentially would be enough for Bitcoin to rally higher. Because the other thing I do want to highlight is I think we've corrected enough. I mean, a 2-month downtrend and a 20% drop is good. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have more. We could definitely keep correcting for a month or two more, but I don't know if it's necessary at this stage. I think that Bitcoin has done plenty. Doesn't mean it's enough, obviously. I'm not trying to make those assertions, but this is something that I think is worth keeping in mind. Is perhaps it might not be necessary, to do something like that. So yeah, this is something that I'm really happy to be watching. I'm going to continue to come back to you with updates on what I'm seeing here, because I think this is going to be the single most important thing that Bitcoin is going to be facing, and this is where all of the attention is going to be in this market right now. If we are able to break it, then I think that we're going to be potentially looking at some really big price explosions, because there's just not that much resistance up ahead for Bitcoin until it jumps up by like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. I know everybody's talking about 40K, 41, 42. I'm a little bit annoyed by that, because I was talking about $40,000 back when Bitcoin was at the lows at 17K, and now everyone else is saying the same thing. So I kind of have to revisit that and change my analysis, which is a little bit annoying, because I would have loved to stick to the same idea since the very beginning, but here we are. And someone very rightly pointed this out in the comment section, because everybody is talking about a 40, 41, 42K Bitcoin, it's quite possible that, selling at 38K might actually be a really good idea if we get there. Of course, that's still $10,000 away, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But if we do get there, that might be a really good place to kind of take some profits, scale back on some Bitcoin positions or whatever. It doesn't, I'm just giving you examples here of what I might consider to do. The reason that looks appealing to me is because if everyone is expecting those high levels, it's a good idea sometimes, in my experience, to front run the market, especially if you've already made so much money. It almost doesn't matter if the price ticks up by another couple $1,000s, right? I mean, you've already made your money. It's more important to secure those gains than, be in the market and risk losing them. So that is something which I think is important and well worth considering in this market as well. I mean, like I said, if we do manage to get that pump up, I just think it's going to be very easy for Bitcoin to move up very quickly afterwards. And if we really do just kind of, zoom in and try and see where some of the important reversals levels on this chart might be, what I want to do is just go ahead and drop some kind of horizontal lines that represent key points on this market. We've got some really nice interactions along this line right here. We actually set an all-time high right here back in January of 2021. We had some really nice support hits at this line right here. This sits at 34.5, and we also set a low right here, so definitely an important level. If we go a little bit higher, I think we can probably drop another support level right here. This sits at 36.9. This would be another important level. You're just seeing some, pretty clear, I mean, we're getting some rejections here. This is just a lot of consolidation, maybe one or two key reversals, but then back here, there's a lot of price interactions. This is a difficult range. It's a range where our resistance levels are not particularly well defined because we just kind of like moved up and down like this throughout the range a little bit too much. Usually it's going to be a lot, like if you look at this yellow line right here, let me just make this very thick. This is a very obvious area that you can predict reversals at, especially if we zoom out onto the weekly time frame. It's even easier to say that this thick yellow line is like this is one specific area of resistance, and it's a very obvious one. These other areas, they're a lot less obvious because of all of the wicks and all of the crazy price action that took place. I still think 35K is going to be a really important level. I think that is probably Bitcoin's next stop if we do get up there. And again, just from our current price, just to kind of really understand how far away that is still a 20% move. So, people that are thinking that they've missed the train because, they just didn't buy Bitcoin or they didn't have enough Bitcoin that they wanted, at this point, I really don't think that's a concern that you need to worry about too much because there's so much money to be made now. A 20% move here. And this is, a little bit of like 5 times leverage. And this is again 100. I like to talk about how easy it is to get to 100% profit because a lot of people, they really think this trading game is incredibly difficult. And don't get me wrong, it definitely is very difficult, but in order to get the big gains that we all want, it doesn't actually take as much as you might think. And to me, that's quite a liberating thing to think about. That is a very, thinking about that gives me a little bit of relief because it just shows me that like I can just kind of sit back and be calm. The money will come. The opportunities are here. They are rife. They are everywhere right now. And that to me is what makes this all so exciting. And like I said, guys, there's no better place to be trading this stuff than Bybit with this link in the description, in my opinion. Obviously, if you don't want to trade on it, if you don't like the KYC and stuff like that, which is totally understandable, BingX is a beautiful alternative. Prime XBT also doesn't require KYC. OKX doesn't either, but they do have low limits. Although this is one of the oldest exchanges in the space, so these guys are legit. Bitflex also no KYC. For me, it's going to be BingX and Prime XBT. If it's privacy that I'm looking for, but Bybit remains. I mean, if you don't mind the KYC, this is definitely the best place to be in my opinion. This is where all the trading action happens with professionals. I do want to show you very quickly the Forthflies dashboard as well to see where we're at over here. We do have a reading of 59. This is the biggest fear and greed rating that we've had since May. Actually, if we take a look at this on this chart right here, if we go back, we have to go back quite a bit. A reading of 59. The last time we had this kind of reading was the beginning of May. So that is a whole kind of 6 weeks ago that we saw fear and greed ratings like this, which is a very clear sign that the market is picking up some bullish sentiment right now. And I'm not hugely worried about that. But here's what's cool, and this is kind of blowing my mind right now, is like now retail traders are starting to go short. I don't really have any nice things to say about this. This is just the typical, dumb behavior of Binance retail traders that we see all the time. Obviously, Bybit traders typically going to be the much more professional ones. If you actually look at the market, whenever Bybit traders are doing the opposite of Binance traders, we usually see the Bybit traders being correct. I don't know why, it just happens to be this way. I swear to God, guys, I don't know how this worked, but when I signed up to Bybit, my trading just got better. I'm only speaking to you from personal experience. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen to you, but it did happen to me. I know that other friends have reported similar things. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the Binance effect. But yeah, we are looking at 0.8 long positions for every short on Binance traders now. So Binance retail traders now. Top traders continue to be long. It's been this way for an incredibly long period of time, for at least 2-3 months. We have seen top traders being long this entire time. I have been long this entire time as well, not because of the top traders, but that definitely did give me a little bit more confidence. It's nice to know that I am aligned with the whales that are, just absolutely ripping gains in this market like it's nobody's business. And what's really nice is when retail is going against me as well. One of the things that I do, I'm going to tell you this now because we're at the end of the YouTube video. I don't know how many of you are still sticking around. You're the real ones. I'll tell you now. If you look at the comment sections of my YouTube videos, especially over the last few videos back when we were down towards 25K, a lot of people were, kind of making fun out of me and saying that, Bitcoin's still bearish and, I'm just giving bad analysis or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't actually really reading the comments because obviously that stuff's not important. But what I was taking note of is, are people disagreeing with me? Are people thinking that I'm the idiot when I'm talking about the most basic forms of TA where support levels are support levels and where resistance levels are resistance levels? When we go to those levels, when we're actually at those reversal points, what are the comments saying? Or what are my comments saying? What are other YouTuber comments saying? And across the board, people deny these areas. People just deny the existence of this important support. They just deny that support levels are where we get bounces. And these are the kind of things that actually makes it really easy for me to then position myself in the market, because I'm not here in the business of agreeing with retail traders. And it's not to say that you guys are retail, but I mean, to be fair, we all are retail. We're not institutions, and if we're not institutions, we're retail. And when we look at it that way, I'm not here to be in agreement with people, and I've made this point to you extremely clear over the years. I'm not here to get in a circle and fucking say the same thing in an echo chamber that everyone else is saying. I'm not interested in that. That's not how you make money. The way you make money is when you know that you are consistently, in disagreement with the people that lose money all the time, because they lose money. So if you're doing the same thing as them, you're probably going to lose money too. But if you're doing something different, then maybe your chance of making money is a little bit higher. So definitely something which I think is really, really important here. I want to take a very quick look at Bitcoin's dominance as well before I sign off on this video right here. Yeah, we're looking at a 51% Bitcoin dominance rating here. We're just continuing to shoot up as we speak. And again, this is happening while people are going into stable coins as well. So I did cover this yesterday. I'm not going to repeat that now, but the fact that people are in stable coins and are going into stable coins, yet Bitcoin's dominance still keeps on rising, that just shows us how bullish people are on Bitcoin right now. And we know exactly why this is happening. I mean, a big part of this is because traditional finance has been so bullish for so long. So yeah, of course, we are going to be looking at a situation where eventually that bullish energy is going to reach Bitcoin as well, purely because when people are making money in these safe environments, they want to start taking a little bit more risk to make even more money. Because when you make money, one of the first things that you feel with a lot of intensity is greed. And when you feel greed, you want to take on even more risk and make even more money. And that's just human nature. And, by understanding that, we can really understand when, not only what will happen, but we can understand when it will happen, which puts us in such an incredibly strong position, guys. So beautiful, beautiful formations here. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You already know the deal. I'm going to come back to you guys with another YouTube video, probably in about 12 hours for now. So just definitely do make sure that you are subscribed, that you have got the bell icon checked. Many of you that have checked the bell icon do not have notifications switched on for the YouTube app itself. So you got to go into your phone settings and switch on YouTube notifications, and then you'll get notified about my videos. Of course, if you don't want to do that, you also get notifications on my analysis, my team's analysis that I shared with you for free. When you use this link in the description, this takes you to the 4 Flights Gold Telegram channel, where again, I give you even more analysis for myself and my team completely free of charge, around the clock, straight to your phone. And if you do want to join VIP, these steps are here as well to send me a direct message. And all of the exchanges that I'm using here with over $100,000 in bonuses, still very, very easily accessible for you guys with the links in the description. So definitely do check them out if you're interested. And with that, guys, I'll see you all in the very next video. I'm probably going to be in the altcoin channel right now. So if you do want to see my analysis there on the altcoin market, come join me there with the top link in the description down below. All right, guys, I'm out. Cheers.